Okay, there we go. We're recording.
Sweet.
Nice. All right,
And you
so
can pause it and start it again and whatever as you need
okay.
to.
All right, so we're trying a new tool called Blab. It's a little bit like Google Hangout, except it's basically. Tell me what you think about this, Andrew. It's Google Hangout, except through Twitter, and it's like real time. Google Hangout does that too, right?
I think it's kind of like Periscope, Periscope but with multiple people. So like Periscope's one to many. So like you just talk, you're a talking head in Periscope, and people can come in and watch and type in the comment box. But I think with Blab, well, obviously with Blab, it's like that, but there's two of us. People can come in, watch us live. They can interact with us in the chat, and there's the two of us having a conversation.
And how is that different than Google Hangout?
Well, it's not tied to Google Hangout's not tied to Twitter.
Okay.
So you've got this whole Twitter followers. You can come in, like when you go to the Blab website or the Blab app, you can see everything that's live, basically.
Got it.
So it's like, here's all the live Blabs. Jump in, join one, whatever.
Yeah. It makes more sense for Twitter too. I mean, Google Hangouts was always trying to get you to invite people through Google Plus. I was like, dude, I don't know who's gonna react. Who's gonna see this Google Plus post? All right, cool. So I guess we're going to turn this into a podcast too. We're kind of experimenting with our news podcast or the news episode that we do every week. And we thought we're recording this so people could come in and join us, I guess, but I don't think we're going to post this till tomorrow. I think going forward, we want to do this live, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think what we're going to do, aren't we, is we'll have this live conversation. People will come in, join in the conversation. We can, get the audience involved, and then we'll turn this into an audio podcast that we'll post as our normal news episode. Is that
Nice.
I think that's the plan.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing is we just have to tell people on the podcast. So you want to tell them right now? So this is where it gets trippy, but every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do the news episode live right here on Blab, and we'll send out information on that and in the newsletter. So you can get the details of that, but that's basically what we're going to do, right? 4:00 Pacific every Thursday, which will be Australian Friday morning. You can come and join us. And I think the way it works is Andrew and I will be talking about the news items, and you can just hang out, or if you got stuff to say, you can talk, or if you want to join the conversation, I think we can add you into the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I get it. All right, welcome to another episode of the App Business Podcast. This episode is brought to you by B7 Dev. B7 Dev provides top-notch software development and design for your system, app, or website with prices starting from $25 an hour. Go to b7dev.com or really just go to appbusinesspodcast.com/B7Dev, and we'll forward you on to a landing page that gets you 20% off your next project. All right, man. My name's Chris Chigi, joined by Andrew Hubbard. What's up, dude?
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Good. I like this kind of stuff. I mean, there's no pressure
cool.
because no one's here, and it's like we just get to experiment. And then a month from now, we'll be rocking on this thing. So
Yep. So yeah, I like it. I just sent out a tweet to try and get some people on here. So hopefully we get some audience members in here soon to have a chat with us as well. But yeah, I'm liking it so far.
Okay, so every week we have 3 episodes, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Really, the goal of the podcast is to help save you time from having to stay up on all the news related to mobile app marketing and publishing. So there's the news episodes, and then there's some deeper dives throughout the week. The Wednesday and Thursday episodes are kind of deeper dives into topics of interest or changes or new features by a big player or something. But so this is the news episode. This comes out every Monday, bright and early. I think it usually is 3 p.m. Eastern or 3 a.m. Eastern, something like that. Okay, so the topics today, we got a handful of them. Why don't we just start running down the list? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Start at the top.
Go for it.
All right. So the first one we mentioned a couple of weeks back in a podcast episode. We're talking about ad blocking. Surprisingly enough, I know we rarely mention ad blocking lately, but one of the things we mentioned was there was a new app, and it's called Bean Choice, BEEN Choice. And basically what it did was it blocked ads inside apps as well. So the whole ad blocking thing, controversy, whatever, shitstorm, was about blocking ads in the browser, like in mobile Safari. But then this app came out that blocked ads inside apps as well, even Apple News. And so that was kind of a big deal. And we talked about that on an episode a week or two ago. And then I think the day that episode went live, Apple went and banned Bean Choice from the App Store because of privacy concerns.
Yeah. So that was what you brought up on the episode. You said, I wouldn't trust sending this to a private VPN that I don't know who runs it or who it is,
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what the app did. Like, it basically rerouted all of your traffic, your data through a VPN, so a server somewhere. I don't even know where. And Apple basically said, that's a good enough reason for us to pull the app and get rid of it.
Yeah, and the key thing was it wasn't anything technically new or advanced. It was just they were picking up on a trend that said, hey, ad blockers are really hot right now. Let's throw in another ad blocker, right? It's just a different kind of ad blocker.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. All right. So that was it. Like, I think we just wanted to do a quick mention of that one.
So how does it work? We got people calling in. Do I just say?
I saw that. We got a couple of people just joined. Hey guys.
Do I just let Mohammed come on? How does it work?
Oh, you want him to actually join the video chat?
I think he requested.
Oh, did he? Yeah. Well, he can jump in. Sure. Come on, Mohammed.
Is it Mohammed?
We'll find out.
Yeah. Hey.
Hello.
Mohammed. Is it Mohammed?
Hello.
Good. Yeah. So we don't really know what we're doing because this is the first time we've done a podcast episode live where we're like having people call in and hang out with us. So it might be a little awkward for the listeners, but we got Mohammed on the line. Mohammed is going to cut you off because it says poor internet. All right.
Can you speak slow, please? I am bad in English. I am speaking Arabic.
Okay. So what country are you from?
I am from Egypt.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Well, thanks for joining us.
All right, Mohammed, we're going to keep rattling through the news topics here, okay?
All right, what do we have next, Chris? I think we were talking about Apple banning a bunch of apps from the App Store.
Yeah, so it kind of seems like the privacy thing was another theme. Like, what was it last week or it was a couple weeks ago, where the Chinese version of Xcode created all these issues with, basically all these apps were infected with a kind of like a backdoor to get information. Well, China is the culprit again, where there's an SDK, an advertising SDK that people were using that had the same thing. It was pulling email address and serial number of the phone and other things that, again, surprises me that Apple can't catch. So I kind of don't really understand how these things get through. Do you understand that?
Yeah, so I think this was just a case of it was a particular SDK. So all these apps had a SDK from a Chinese advertising company. The company was called Yumi. So similar to not really, but other SDKs are things like Flurry and Chartboost and all that, right? This was just a Chinese SDK that they'd put into their app. They knowingly put the SDK in their app. But what they didn't know, I think, was that the API was accessing a bunch of information through private Apple APIs that you're not meant to access and sending back data to wherever. So it was grabbing things like personal information like their name and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but how does Apple not have a way of testing that in apps?
Well, I thought they did. So I've heard of people where they've tried to access private APIs, and Apple picked that up in the review process and said you shouldn't be accessing these private APIs, and doesn't let them through. But obviously, this SDK somehow got through, and it wasn't until this company, Source DNA, did some research and found out that that's what this SDK was doing, and they told Apple. Yeah,
that's a wild story. So there's another privacy concern. What's good to know, I mean, it's a little scary that Apple, the kind of like the privacy champion, if you're kind of comparing it to Google, needs a third party to tell them. But it's nice to know that they took action right away for the people that choose Apple and iOS because of their stance on privacy, right? But yeah, kind of a big story. I'm sure this was a big story at Apple, where to us it's like, oh, that happened. But again, if Apple's positioning itself as the privacy guys, as that's their competitive advantage compared to Google, then that's a big mess up.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly right. Yeah. It looks good for Source DNA though.
Yeah, it looks great.
And then new product and what they got going on. So
yeah,
big win.
All right, moving on down the line. This one is kind of in the category of funny stories. So, a Canadian telecommunications company called Bell, and we used to have Bell Communications was huge here. Got fined $1.25 million by a Canadian competition. What is it? What's the name of the entity
Canada's Competition Bureau. So I don't know what their entity is, but yeah,
for fake reviews in Apple's App Store. So Apple didn't catch them or fine them. A competitive regulatory government agency in Canada fined this company for putting fake reviews, and they're not even super obvious fake reviews. They're their own employees downloading the app and making reviews, which to me is almost like, well, that's not totally black. That's like grayish. Yeah. But that was enough to get them fined. $1 million is not much for a company like that. But more funny that, again, it's a third party that's helping Apple out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting, to know that it's a third party helping Apple out, and they're actually imposing like dollar fines. Like, it's not just like they're getting a slap on the wrist. They've said, that's 1.2 mil, thanks. Yeah. And I think like part of the issue seemed to be that the employers didn't disclose their affiliation with the company. That seemed to be part of the issue, and they're a bit overzealous. Was the admission, I think, from Bell.
I love how managers are the guy, the spokesperson, the release was something like, we've made it very clear that we don't want our employees doing this, as if the employees took it upon themselves to make a bunch of fake reviews for their app, their company app. Yeah.
Totally.
So one of the comments was, if I forget the company they said, but let's pick on AT&T or Cox. If Cox Cable in the United States gets a bunch of good reviews, they're fake. Something like that. We definitely need to call the regulators in for that, because cable companies are notoriously bad here in the States. But just another funny thing where, man, if they only knew how bad it gets, it's way worse than your employees submitting ratings and reviews. It's buying ratings and reviews, and that image of the Chinese girl clicking all the phones. You've seen that image, right? Yep. That's what I always think of when I think of this stuff. Is as long as Apple's going to put a heavy emphasis, and Google does this too, on ratings and reviews, the number, the quantity, the quality, the how fast they're happening, then, or I guess it's velocity, right? Then people are going to find ways to get ratings and reviews. And
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I don't think, I know we haven't got this listed as something we're talking about today, but it's related, so I'll mention it. But you heard about the whole Amazon thing, right? Amazon reviews. So Amazon is suing a bunch of people who had Fiverr gigs where they were offering to post free Amazon reviews.
No, but I don't know about that. But there's another story circulating like that with don't trust movie reviews, because the same thing. Like, part of the release of a new movie is to go on to Rotten Tomatoes and all Fandango and rate it highly. So everyone's got the same problem.
Same problem. And Amazon, they're taking steps to kill it as well. It's just a bit more extreme in that they're suing people who were going on Fiverr and offering to do fake reviews as a job. So.
Yeah. One of the things that Amazon has that's really unique to them, or one of their big assets, is that, it's a big center of customer feedback. It's like a great way to research products. And in fact, that's a big reason why you pull out the Amazon app when you're at Macy's. It's not to necessarily get a cheaper price. It's to see if this is a highly rated thing or not. Are you giving me high fives?
Yeah. I was just testing out the high five feature.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, this is Amazon. It makes more sense that they hold that in really high regard, that they would want to keep those clean. But there's always jokes about Yelp and how, hey, my Burger King sandwich, had one less fry than I was expecting, 1 star, like the overzealous Yelp reviewers. And you get that everywhere. And there's lots of examples of great apps getting terrible reviews because they added in-app purchase content. Like, hey, we spent a bunch of time on a whole new universe to add to the app, and it's $2, and 1-star reviews flood in. So, I'm wondering, with all the data that Apple has as far as engagement and retention, how long they're going to leave ratings and reviews as a somewhat significant, having a somewhat significant impact on rankings, because it seems like it still does. Even with the podcast,
I think it definitely does.
Yeah, we get ratings on the podcast, and we go higher up in the App Store, or in the podcast, whatever that is, iTunes Store.
Yeah, well, in the podcast rankings, like we see a clear increase.
Yeah.
But I think that happens with, that's across the board, yeah? That's why people want reviews on Amazon, because then they appear higher in the search results on Amazon, and they get in the different feature lists and whatever, and no matter what it is, like TripAdvisor, anything with reviews has got a ranking system behind it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true with Amazon, or if it's when I'm looking for something, I always filter by 4 stars.
Okay.
Right. So on Amazon, and is it Upwork now? Yeah, Upwork.
Yeah.
You'd always filter by 4 stars, And so for me, it was less about a rankings thing and more of a filter thing. Whereas the App Store doesn't even have a filter for how many stars. Neither of them do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they don't. But what's different about Amazon compared to the App Store and compared to most other platforms, like Upwork, especially with Upwork and the App Store, you at least have to have hired the person and done a job with them before you can rate them. And same with the App Store, you need to have downloaded the app before you can rate it and review it. With Amazon, anyone can go in and write anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't even need to buy the product, and I can go in and write, this football was really bad because
I couldn't catch it.
Wrong shape, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's another point of difference there as well.
Well, I'll be happy when ratings and reviews have less of an impact on rankings in the app stores, or when Apple and Google make it easier to rate apps, because right now it's been broken like this. We've been talking about this for 3 years. So, but kind of funny that Canada came in and dropped the hammer on one of their businesses for that. Did you order an Apple TV?
No, I haven't. Have you?
No, I don't need that kind of stuff. I got one of those Chromecasts.
That I didn't get one for $1.
Yeah, me too.
And they opened up a second round of that as well, right?
No, I didn't.
They didn't open it up for more applications, but they said people who applied but weren't successful the first time.
Okay.
There's another round of handing them out. So, yeah, I'll get one eventually, but I'm not in a rush. I've already got a similar thing for that stuff, for playing movies and whatever.
Yeah. I've got the Chrome plug-in thing, and then and then we don't have it in the current house, but in the previous house, it had the Apple TV also. So it's like,
right,
as much as I used it, but it'll be fun to see the apps that come out. That's the big thing. Just like with the watch, it'll be fun to see where these things go, because it is a new version of the TV. Like, it is definitely the next step. So
yeah.
Anything else on that point?
Well, that's a good transition into, the next news article, which is basically what we're going to say. They opened pre-orders on Monday, and they are shipping late this week. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think they're not opening pre-orders until this Monday coming, are they? Till when this episode gets released. I think that's when they're opening up orders.
So. But it looks like you can already submit your TV apps, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that was the thing. So you can submit TV apps now. They started that a couple of days ago. And then on Monday, so the Monday when this episode is released, you can actually order your Apple TV. And then they'll be shipped later that week. So
cool, except I'm not going to be one of those guys. Although
Yeah,
this isn't in our news list, but did you see the I'm going to forget the name of it, the augmented reality company that you put on the glasses and you look around the office, and they had a video that showed like a little robot underneath the desk. That was a terrible example. We're gonna have to cut that out of the video because there's such a bad description of what I'm trying to talk about. That's what happens if I don't have the notes in front of me. I'm lost on it.
Okay, so there was no robot. The glasses just made it look like there was a robot. Is that right?
No, instead of it being virtual reality, it's augmented. So you're seeing things that are out there, and then you're seeing additional things. So the additional thing was a robot kind of spinning around underneath the desk, and it's unreal. I'm not going to remember the name of the company, but it's a known entity that's doing this kind of stuff. But
it's not Oculus Rift one.
No, that's the virtual reality one, right? The augmented one is well, there's our pitch. Go sign up for the newsletter so you can get in the show notes. But and if you follow me on Twitter, I tweeted that out yesterday. That little link to it also. That's at ChichiChris. So. But yeah, it's super cool. So I could see, it just reminded me with the Apple TV how the Apple TV seems cool because the navigation and you can move around and it's got iOS apps and all that stuff, but it's about to be leapfrogged big time by this augmented reality stuff where you'll be playing baseball in your living room because they'll be pitching to you, and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Sounds interesting.
I'll buy one of those.
To check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to take a sec and just mention the developer economics survey?
Oh yeah,
it's going on at the moment.
Yeah, except the link is really hard to talk about. But basically, we talk about those developer economics studies every quarter, and for a couple of quarters we had the guys on. So they've opened up the what is it? The study.
Yeah, they've opened up the survey again. They're looking for developers to come in and fill in the survey. It takes about 15 minutes, I think. And then they send you the report for free as a thank you when they release it in February. But I think the best part is, it takes 15 minutes, but there's a ton of prizes that they give out as well. So it's a random draw, but there's things like iPhone 6S. They've got a Sony Xperia Z5. I'm just looking at the list now. A 4X. They've got 4 Nexus players. I didn't even know what a Nexus player was, but it looks like an Apple TV. Tons of stuff. They've got a Parrot AR drone, if you like drones. Tons of different prizes. Takes 15 minutes to fill it out. Amazon gift cards, heaps of crap. Heaps of good stuff. I shouldn't say crap.
Yeah.
What we'll do, we'll set up a short link on the site. So we'll go appbusinesspodcast.com/dev economics, DEV economics. And that'll take you through the survey if you want to fill it out.
Yeah. I do that every quarter just because it feels good to, I love reading the data, so I feel like I should contribute.
Yeah.
And I think last time they had over 10,000 respondents. So it's not like this is a small study. This is a big deal. But yeah, go do that. We'll, like Andrew said, we'll have the link there at businesspodcast.com/dev economics. And then we'll put that in the newsletter and we'll tweet that out as well. And we'll probably be talking about that over the next couple of weeks because I think they're going to be pulling in these surveys for the next couple of weeks. Okay. Last but not least.
Last but not least, it's Twitter Fabric. So you probably heard Twitter built this different SDK platform called Twitter Fabric, and that rolled in a bunch of stuff. So it rolled in the Twitter SDK, it rolled in Criticism, which is their crash reporting tool. Mm-hmm. They rolled in, was it MoPub as well? Mm-hmm. And now they've added, so I think Twitter have got an event going on now. At their Flight Developer Conference, they just announced that they're adding 8 more services. So they're weaving in Stripe, AWS, so Amazon Web Services, Optimizely, Nuance, Game Analytics, Mapbox, Appsy, and PubNub. So now, when you roll in when you add the Twitter Fabric SDK to your apps, you'll get all those rolled in as well. Really quick and easy integration is what they're going for.
Yeah. So Optimizely is A/B testing, more or less, right? Multivariate testing. Nuance is voice recognition. Is that right?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Okay. Because a couple of these, I mean, some of these we know for sure, Stripe and Amazon Web Services and Optimizely, but some of these are more specific to, they're more niche type things. But
I don't know what Mapbox is.
You do?
Nope.
Okay. Have you ever used Fabric?
Yeah, I played around with it once. It was a pain in the ass to get it going. I think
you're our first blab, and you're making it a where you're gonna have to click the button that says we're cursing on this one. making an explicit episode.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll turn that down a bit. I didn't think it was too bad, but all right. Yeah. So what are we talking about? So Stripe's payments. Then you got Optimizely for A/B testing, Nuance for voice, Game Analytics, I'm guessing is just another analytics platform. Amazon Web Server. That could be handy. I don't know. A lot of people seem to be running a back end now, so having AWS in there could be good as well.
You know what the Nuance, one of the big products they have is Dragon. So it's basically you can dictate tweets or other messages. Doesn't only have to be for Twitter. Other things into your app through this new Fabric integration.
It's voice to text, yeah.
Yeah. So, Twitter's in a tough position a little bit in that like Meerkat and Periscope were a good example where they have an open API and developers invest in an integration, and then Twitter decides, we're going to do that too, and just shuts down access. And they've had kind of a contentious relationship with developers. And for the developers that have any experience with this, you're shaking your head as if you know, because that's kind of been their reputation. So I'm sure Fabric has an uphill battle just because of the reputation for the rest of Twitter. But again, they just named a new CEO, same as the old CEO, and he came out right away and said, look, we're going to treat developers better, blah, blah, blah. Like he knows that that's an issue. So, for a while, it looked like it was going to be Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Twitter as kind of like the big horsemen of the mobile thing. Twitter is such an obvious fit for mobile. And Twitter just fell off the planet while everyone else kind of kept going. Amazon was swinging, they were just missing. But Twitter wasn't even swinging. They made a couple acquisitions, but they really weren't doing anything like Facebook and the other guys were doing. So, anyways, it'll be I've already decided that Fabric and Twitter isn't the direction I'll be going, but
it's good to see some change, right?
Yeah, for momentum. That.
Yeah. And I think it's probably the idea was probably right behind Fabric when it was first released, but it probably wasn't executed well. But with more tools integrated into it, it might be, that execution might be starting to turn around as well.
Yep. All right. Well, so if we're going to do these videos, I probably need to shave my beard because it's looking pretty gnarly on this video. Look at it. By the way, if you sign up for Branch and you recommend someone, you get a free sweatshirt. So I recommended Andrew and I got a sweatshirt. So there's my Branch Metric sweatshirt. All right, man, I think that's it for this episode. I think we'll be able to dial this in better as we go. This was kind of our first try at this. And maybe it sounds a little awkward at parts when you're just listening to the audio because we're kind of still figuring this out. And, we invited someone to the call and the connection was bad. And so we're figuring this out. But we like these video things and more ways to interact and have conversations with what you personally think is going on. Hopefully you can join us. So next Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah. So yeah, sure. That's right. And look, we'll be there if you can go to blab.im now and you can sign up in the meantime. get your account. You can follow us there as well. Our handles are the same as on Twitter. So it's at GGChris and at @_Hubbard on Blab. And yeah, you can get set up and then you'll get a notification when we're live and all that sort of stuff as well. But we've got a comment as well, I just noticed.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys, if you join us on Blab, of course, you can just listen. You don't have to join in on the video or audio or anything. You can just join and type in the chat box too. But so what are we saying? So I think Mohammed is telling us that he thinks the best way of marketing mobile apps are video ads. So there we go. Cool. I agree. Like, I don't mind video ads. They work well. The problem is they can be intrusive. So I think rewarded video or video where the user clicks to actually play the video rather than one that just pops up during normal use is generally better.
Yeah, I guess it depends if you're talking marketing mobile apps, like monetizing them or trying to get new users via video, right?
Yeah, true.
And then Branch is Branch Metrics. It's a deep linking tool, and it's definitely worth checking out. So with iOS 9, Apple basically allowed app links and deep linking. And that's the idea where you're on a website or let's say you're on the mobile web and you search taco recipe and it takes you right into the taco recipe in the app that you have installed, as opposed to just like the front of the app. And then you have to research taco recipe. The cool thing about Branch is you can use deep links for onboarding and making better onboarding, like custom onboarding. And then it works across Google and Facebook have their own protocols. So it's kind of one of these things where there's 3 different ways to implement this. Branch takes care of all of them and kind of provides a nice user interface for all that stuff. So I just have my first app with Branch now. And in fact, it just went in review like an hour ago. So after it gets denied 3 times, we'll be able to see what's going on with it. Hopefully that's not the case. We'll see. All right. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. We'd love a rating and review as always, because apparently those make a big difference. And hopefully we'll see you on next week on the Blab. So blab.im.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you later in the week.